What's going on, guys? We're racing it back a brand new video. Today we are going to be previewing the F1 2015 Malaysian Grand Prix, the second of 19 rounds of the F1 2015 season. Of course, last time out in Australia we saw Lewis Hamilton taking the win ahead of his teammate Rosberg and Sebastian Vettel in third. That was also coincidentally the podium here last time out in Malaysia in 2014. Of course, you can all remember it's a pretty dominant win from Lewis Hamilton. He looked the quickest all weekend, and I'm kind of expecting a similar story next Sunday. Just like Australia, around Malaysia, you know, Hamilton just seems to go really well around. They're kind of two tracks that he really dislike. They kind of just really suit his driving style. Certainly in qualifying, you know, with the Australian Grand Prix. But now he's won there twice, you know, I think he's proved that he can be very fast on that track in the race. And it's definitely been the same with Malaysia. You know, he's had a bit of bad luck in previous years where he probably should have won, you know, like in 2012, had the rain not, you know, come down and a few bad strategy calls from McLaren. But I'm pretty sure he should be taking home the win and probably going to be Rosberg in second place. Hopefully should be a much better race this time out. Hopefully with a lot more starters. Let's pray for 20 starters. That would be brilliant. You know, we only had 15 out last time in in Australia. But it'd be fantastic if we could have Bottas, Alonso, Stevens and Murray all, you know, competing, as well of course Fiat and obviously, yeah, well, Magnussen, of course, it won't be competing this weekend. But yeah, it'd be great to see the debut of Alonso, Bottas, hopefully Manor as well. I'm really praying they can get some good running done in practice, you know, to really set them off well for qualifying in the race. Because if they don't do any laps in practice, then it's probably unlikely they can really do anything representable in qualifying or the race. It'd be really interesting to see how, you know, well they can run. Of course, you know, they're not going to be beating anyone, but it'd be, you know, kind of cool to see how close they are to McLaren. And with such a high attrition rate, you never know what's going to happen. You know, they could even score points just because everyone else retiring. I think we should really kind of just go for reliability. They're probably not going to realistically beat anyone. I mean, they possibly beat McLaren, but I think we're going to see a different McLaren this weekend. They're not going to be drastically better than they were in Australia, but I think they'll be kind of a second up from where they were, possibly closer to kind of, you know, Force India, I suppose, the next worst team, I guess. And then, you know, probably above them it's kind of Sauber, Toro Rosso. Toro Rosso actually do look pretty strong. A few other tracks we should see their kind of Australia pace again. Australia is, although Australia is a track that really does suit them, you know, Malaysia. It's kind of a funny one with some of the teams, you know, Williams didn't run very well here last time out. You know, Nasr and Bottas 7th and 8th, of course. Remember there was actually team orders, which Felipe Massa ignored because, of course, they used the words Valtteri is faster than you, which was probably you know, a massive mistake. If you remember, I think it was a wet qualifying session last year. We saw both of the Williamses, you know, starting outside the top 10. We could possibly see something like this, you know, again this year in terms of, you know, kind of wet weather we've seen previously, of course, most famously in 2012, you know, horrendous rain, you know, downpouring race, and it does provide a really cool race. And, you know, I suppose safety aside, you know, because of course that's going to be the first priority. If it does rain, it'd be really cool to see kind of a rain-affected race. I do like to see the kind of intermediate to dry kind of races. I think they do provide some cracking racing we've seen before. Brazil 2012. And you know, Canada 2011, they just throw up some amazing races. Hungary 2011, and hopefully, you know, in a few years we'll be saying Malaysia 2015 was an absolute cracker with, you know, maybe rain soaked, because that might be, you know, one of the only chances to make this race really exciting. I mean, we could get a good race on its own, but I think we're probably going to have to wait to Bahrain to see, you know, a really good race. Although, of course, you know, there's no kind of formula for making a good race, but rain is also kind of probably high up there. If you were to make a list, what makes an exciting race, rain does make it. And, you know, Malaysia is certainly up there with one of the most, you know, weather affected tracks for sure. I believe it's 62% chance of rain for Sunday, not as in for the race, just for the whole day. So there's a possibility we could see it. Possibly we might see a bit in practice or qualifying. We've seen it qualifying, I think, for the last 2 years. So you know, probably pretty likely we could see rain at some point at the weekend. I do like to just kind of see it in the race. I don't really like to, well, it's good to see in qualifying in the race, but if it's during practice, no one really goes out. It's a bit kind of boring. So, you know, we'll just have to see with the rain. Let's stop talking about the rain. Let's talk about through the drive as well. Like I mentioned, Toro Rosso, looked really strong. Carlos Sainz Jr. and Max Verstappen. We should see him definitely picking up his first points, I would think so, if he can get that car to the finish. Of course, it's probably not going to be down to him, probably just going to be how reliable that car is. We saw Dronic Verne retiring last year with a turbo failure. And it seems to be much a similar story for Toro Rosso this year. They've got a really cracking, very fast car, but the reliability is just very poor. It's a thing they really do need to get fixed, because it's becoming a bit of a problem over these last couple of years. Even 2013 they had a bad reliability, and they really want to try and upstage the sister team, of course, Red Bull. The parent team, which of course should be on paper faster with much more resources, but just for some reason Toro Rosso seemed to start the season pretty strongly. Daniel Ricciardo, I think, did kind of an rated job at Australia, just to kind of get that car up into 6th place. He'll be hoping to go better in Malaysia. Red Bull do run really well around Malaysia. We've seen before, 2013, 2014 even, they were best of the rest behind Mercedes. I wouldn't expect them to be best of the rest here, but certainly a lot closer to Ferrari and Williams. In terms of Ferrari and Williams, I'd still probably expect Ferrari to be ahead of Williams, but we'll just have to see. And again, if we do see some rain, is that Williams car better adapted to rain, this year? Because last year it really wasn't. It was really dreadful in the rain in Malaysia and Japan. It just didn't have the pace, but it really should do, and comparative to the dry. Is that Ferrari really quick in the rain? We know Red Bull is usually very quick in the rain. We've seen that from 2014. They capitalised on the rain, with Vettel getting podiums in Japan and Malaysia, getting a podium in Japan when it of course rained. He looked pretty strong, and it was, what I was meant to say was, it was Daniel Ricciardo that got a second place in qualifying, of course, when it's raining in Australia. So Red Bull do usually run pretty well in the rain. Williams don't tend to. Also Lotus, we should see an improved performance from them, of course, with that Mercedes power unit in the back of their car. They had a really poor first weekend with Maldonado crashing, not his fault, and Grosjean having a problem with the car. Both retiring on lap 1 was an awful way to start what should have been a really great season. First race anyway. Should still be a great season. I think we should see both of them comfortably into Q3 again, and possibly, should be scoring the points. It just depends if they can work on the reliability. Sauber should be another strong weekend for them, Felipe Nasr and Marcus Ericsson. Hopefully we'll see a bit more pace from Marcus Ericsson. We didn't see that much in Australia, although he did get an 8th place. It was probably due to everyone else retiring. And if you look at the people behind him, Carlos Sainz Jr. had that pit stop problem. Sergio Perez had a collision with Jenson Button, and Jenson Button was driving McLaren. So it would be nice to see Marcus Ericsson doing a bit better this race. Hopefully a bit closer to Felipe Nasr, who did a really great job in Australia. I think people really weren't expecting that. I was, because I've been a fan of him for ages, but I suppose I was biased. But sometimes it does work out like that, where you can actually be true, even if you are being biased. But yeah. Then the top thing I want to see definitely in this race is the debut of Alonso, Bottas and Manor. My podium prediction then got to go with Hamilton, Rosberg, Vettel. I think it's going to be a repeat of last year and a repeat of the Australian Grand Prix. Let's hope it's a cracking race. I'm going to pray for rain as long as it's not too dangerous. But you guys can let me know then your thoughts on the 2015 Malaysian Grand Prix, a top 3 podium prediction, and what are you most looking forward to. I'm definitely most looking forward to, as I mentioned, seeing the debut of 4 drivers in kind of 2015. And of course, Manor as a whole team would just be fantastic to see them back. So then, I'm just racing. I'll see you guys next time. I'll be doing a Malaysian Grand Prix review on Sunday. So see you then. Goodbye.